What's up everybody, Brandon Johnson here again, and thanks for joining me. Today I wanted to take a look at a couple of different ideas that maybe you could use in your playing to kind of spice up your rhythm playing, namely cross-picking. And cross-picking is a concept that was kind of innovated by a guitarist named George Shuffler way back in the day. And he invented this method of picking, namely to try to emulate the sound of a banjo. So a lot of times when you hear cross-picking, it sort of has the similar kind of attack that you would hear a banjo play with finger picks on. So I just played kind of a short selection of chords from the song Last Thing on My Mind, which is a famous Clarence White tune in the key of C. And so the idea here with this is that we're kind of combining, standard strumming with a little bit of cross-picking, or a little bit of, picking out the individual notes of the chord and not so much just strumming the entire time. So one way we can do that is when we look at a C chord here, we can play a regular old C chord. And then when we go to the F chord, instead of playing just an F chord like that, we can do a little bit of a hammer on here over the F major triad. And basically the way that would work is we would play with our middle finger here, 2nd fret D, and we'd go right into 3rd fret D. So that's on a down up. And then we play a downstroke right after that on the G string 2nd fret. And then an upstroke on the 1st fret B. And you're left with a little bit of a pattern like this. And it does kind of have like an F major 7 sound to it, although the F major 7 would be played with the open high E underneath it. But as long as we just play these 3 notes, then we're playing, basically the core of the F major chord. So you can use that kind of over an F major chord shape. That's a really good way to kind of take a solo as well. You don't necessarily need to be playing, straight 16th notes individually picked. You can kind of use these cross-picking patterns to take solos as well. And George Shuffler is a perfect example of how you can do something like that. And then from there you can either kind of walk into the C chord, or you can just actually let off that 2nd fret G. That creates a really kind of a cool sound as well. And experiment with these different patterns. You can let your finger off the 2nd fret G and kind of cross pick out a couple other notes of that chord as well. You can kind of use your creativity to sort of use these patterns and these shapes to create basically anything you want, whether it's rhythm or even soloing. So there we're doing a little bit more of a transition run into that C chord. And then same thing over the C. We can kind of do other, similar types of cross-picking moves over the C chord as well. We could just do something like that, where we're just basically playing the D string 2nd fret, the open G, and then letting off that D string 2nd fret as well. It creates a little bit of motion to your picking there. And then from there, since we're already playing that open G, that's a really good way to transition into a G. And what you can do here is, if you're playing this kind of modified G chord shape here, where we're taking our standard G chord shape and we're letting off, or just kind of not playing this 2nd fret A here. And what that's going to do is it's going to give your index finger something to do. It's going to be available to maybe play a little cross-picking pattern. So one thing I like to play is over a G, something like that, where we're playing our G chord. Kind of hammering on there, since with this modified chord shape, that open A is available. So you're going to play open A, hammer on to 2 on an upstroke, and then we're going to play the open D and then the open G. And you'll notice there that I'm playing that same cross-picking run, but with different inflection. So the first time you could do it like this. And then the second time you can do a little more like that. So the first one. So it's really kind of the same pattern, but you're starting the hammer on the on beat on the first one and on the off beat on the second one. And it's important too to not overdo it as well, because especially if you're playing with other musicians, that kind of really busy cross picking, it can kind of become overbearing, and you know it's meant to be more of like an accent. In this context, I'm just sitting here playing my guitar alone, so it might be more appropriate to throw in some more of those cross picking intervals to kind of fill up some more dynamic space in the music. But if you're playing with a banjo player or other rhythmic instruments, it might make more sense to just sort of play those types of cross-picking accents sparingly, play them once in a while, and only parts of the song where you know it's appropriate to accent that particular part of the song. So you know it's really good to kind of mix it in with regular rhythm playing as well.